and other people can join in as they, let me see, I have one more chat here. We're good. As they come. But I have a couple new people. So I'm Kelly Gray Grubing, and I started Wanderlust Women. This is going to be our fourth year of trips. I've been a travel agent for about 30 years, but I a lot of my demographics of my clients were changing since I've been doing this for so long, and my own demographics. And I was doing a lot of solo travel, and people were, well, women were saying, I want to do that. So I started Wanderlust Women as a way we could do that. I find that most women are most often the planners, I guess I should say. So what I kind of hear the most that people like about these trips is that they don't have to do any planning. They just show up and everything has been taken care of. So so that's been nice. I do the planning and you just show up. We've been fortunate to have a really great group of people over the course of this, and people have become friends, and it's been really nice. So I'm gonna try and share my screen now. That's always the tricky part, but let me know when you're seeing
Yep, I can see it.
my screen. Okay. Is the little Zoom window in your way or not? You're just seeing my screen with the,
I see you off to the side. It says to double click on your screen to make it larger if anyone needs to make it larger.
okay. So I am going to start. I think I mentioned that we always have a Zoom meeting closer into the trip to kind of introduce ourselves and go over more nitty gritty. This is an overview for people who might be considering the trip or new to Wanderlust Women. We do just have 40 minutes, so I'll probably kind of speed through. We'll start with I'll just start with what's on the itinerary with what's included. So this trip's a little different than ones I've done in the past where we're all together all the time. Sometimes we have one guide. Usually there's a bus involved. With this one, we're going to start 2 days in Paris, and it can be kind of as much or as little as you want together in terms of the itinerary, because your hotel's included and there's some optional tours. And then other than that, it's kind of what you make of it. So I'll go over what you can do in Paris in a minute. But basically the shell of the trip is 2 nights in Paris, 4 nights on a river cruise, and then 1 night in Cologne. And everyone will book their own air. But I will say I had a few people ask me about it this week, and it's pretty good price right now. I would encourage you, if you want, to go ahead and book it. On United, so nonstop into Paris and then nonstop back from Frankfurt. It's only 1,100, which is pretty good for Europe Air. And also the nonstop is huge. And it is Thanksgiving weekend, so that makes that even more appealing because a nonstop to Paris isn't going to be as crazy as trying to get through American airports. So if you were to book now and need to cancel later, you would have the credit on United for a year from when you book it. So that's just to keep in mind, but I thought that was a good price, and that's the schedule I would recommend would be those nonstop flights. It's a little tricky. Some people don't know for that, that you're not looking at two nonstop flights one way. You want to go to advanced, you want to go to multi-city, and then you want to put in San Francisco to Paris as the outbound, and then for the return, Frankfurt to San Francisco. And that will get you that $1,100 price. And then everyone's on their own to transfer to the hotel in Paris, largely because people will have different flights and different times and different schedules. It's about $50 by Uber and $60 by taxi. Most people are going to be traveling together or with somebody, so you obviously can share that. Personally, I think it's actually easiest to just get a taxi on arrival, because otherwise you need to make sure your Uber settings are set up. Sometimes there's a code in another country. You need to be on Wi-Fi. So once you're there, that's all easy enough to figure out. But sometimes after a groggy flight, I think it's easiest to just get the cab. It was like maybe 10 euro different. So another thing that is a little different is our parts on land, so to speak. So Paris and Frankfurt, there's not any meals included. I have a few optional things set up in Paris that we can do. But then once we're on the ship, all meals wine and beer with meals, various snacks that they have, the Wi-Fi, the gratuities, everything's included. And I've also set up an excursion each day that's included. Couple of optional ones, but if you didn't want to, you'd basically everything from the time you get on the ship is included. So that's kind of nice, especially because this trip's a little more shopping oriented than some. And so most of your budget once you're on there can be toward kind of more what you buy. And then I guess the only other thing about the tips that wouldn't be included is all the all the tips for the staff on the ship have already been paid as part of the package. But typically, if you're on an excursion, a tour, you would still tip the guide, you know, €3 to €5, depending how long it was per person. So that would be individual as well. And I do require travel insurance. I do have it available. And then if you have travel insurance, sometimes people, I have an annual plan. You know, if you have other insurance or another way you usually do that, that's fine. I just need to see it to know that you have it. And then, so the deposit is refundable through June. I actually only have 4 cabins left, one double with the panoramic window, one double with the small window, and 2 singles. So we're getting pretty close. And I do have the cancellation fees laid out. And then once you've made final payment, which is due at the end of July, that's when that insurance coverage is going to kick in. If you had to cancel for a medical reason, does cover trip cancellation. It doesn't cover for change of mind. I do think it's possible I'm going to have a wait list on this trip. So that's always a possibility, but I wouldn't, that's not to be counted on per se. So just going through the day by day itinerary, as I mentioned, you'll be responsible for booking your own air. I recommend the nonstop, and then getting to the hotel. It's the Malia Champs-Élysées. It's in a good area that's close to things. It's near, I think it's actually pretty close to being booked in more the Marais area. And then Champs-Élysées is very great shopping area too, and very decorated for Christmas, and has a Christmas market near it.
Quick question, Kelly.
Yeah.
Are these months located in the itinerary? I can't read it this close.
What? I'm sorry.
I can't even say it in French. The area, the arrondissement.
Oh, do I have that on here? Let me see if that says on the hotel.
You just said it was the Moray area, but
yeah, Marais.
They usually give a number of which.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I don't want to say it wrong, so
like which area it's in, between 1, 2, or
yeah. I don't remember offhand. I mean, I want to say 15th, but honestly, I don't remember. So I'll have to look that up. And get back to you. So I wrote that down. The time in Paris is going to be kind of whatever you make of it, in the sense that you can do your own thing and use the 2 days to go to the Christmas markets, to go to the really pretty department stores all decorated. You could go to the Louvre if you want. I put a link on here for that. I do recommend getting advance tickets, just because then you don't have to stand in line. The Musée d'Orsay is closed Mondays, so that's why I didn't put a link to that. But then alternatively, I have a couple of options. So the first day, you can join us for a Seine River dinner cruise. I make it optional for a number of reasons, but one, if you have a late flight or you're just wiped out, you wouldn't want to do that. I kind of like having something to do the first night, because it gets you to stay up and get a little in the time zone, and you have to eat anyway. So, and this one is nice. I've done it and had clients do it, because it goes past the monuments all lit up at night. So you do pass the Eiffel Tower, you do pass the Notre Dame, and it includes dinner. And so that is an option for the first night. And then
Millie, I'm going to interrupt you just for a second, so everyone knows. It says the Champs, whatever, I can't say it, is in the 8th arrondissement. I can't.
I just don't. I need to look up the hotel specifically.
Oh, okay. Well, if it's
it
in
should
there,
be
it'll
near
in the
that.
8th.
Yeah. Thank you. So that's an option for the first night. Once you've signed up for the trip, I think my system makes it hard to go back and sign up for the, like somebody emailed me today what excursions they want. So if you want to sign up for something and you've already signed up for the trip, just send me an email and I'll get you plugged into that. Some of these are limited. That dinner is not, but the next day I have an optional Paris highlights tour. I know a lot of people have been to Paris before and maybe they have other things they want to do with their time there. But for people who haven't, or even I who have, I think it would be nice to do a kind of an overview with a guide. And the other nice thing is that he's a photographer and he sets you up for the good places to get pictures. So I can only do a maximum of 10 on that. And if we have more, I might try to stagger some timing and see if we can do two. But somebody's trying to get into Zoom.
And that's a walking tour, Kelly?
Yeah. Well, no, you also need to get a Metro Pass, which you now can kind of do through an app. So we can talk about that when we get closer. But it'll involve there's not a bus or a car, let's put
Okay.
it that way, but it'll
So
involve
you get
walking.
and you get the Metro Pass to go on that tour, right? So that you can go into everywhere.
Yeah. So someone's trying to get in, but I don't have it set up with a weight room because none of you needed to be in a weight room, right?
Sorry, no, I was just trying to help my sister find the
Yeah.
link on your website.
Oh,
And
find the
so
link.
if Laura Foster is trying to get in, that's who that is.
The link is on my website.
Yeah.
Did she try pressing it from there?
She was going to, so
Okay.
we'll see.
Okay.
But
All
I
right.
felt bad because I was talking while you were talking.
Oh, I was saying no problem. Hopefully she
Okay,
figures that out.
thanks.
All right. I clicked into you, so let me get back over to my there we go. Okay, so yeah, but just to say that's limited to the first 10 people. If they're interested, I think I already have at least 3 people signed up. I did put on here, just another option you could do on your own is seeing all the beautiful department stores. They will be decorated for Christmas. Talked about you could go to the Louvre. And then I have another optional dinner that night. I have done this one myself as well as had clients do it. It's dinner in the Eiffel Tower. And the nice thing is that it includes the elevator up to the first level because that can be really tricky. It's a long line and it's very hard to get the tickets direct, at least to go all the way to the top. They just sell out quickly. So this includes, if you think of the Eiffel Tower in an A, it's just that first level that goes across. It's not the very top, but it does include the elevator up to that. You don't have to stand in line. It's a 3-course meal. I've had it. It's very nice. It comes with wine and so just an option for that night, kind of something different. Or you can do the Christmas markets on your own. I put a link to where the popular ones are. This one is for the 25 because they're the 24 because they haven't made it yet for the 25, but they'll be very similar, where they're located. And the dinner is going to be the early dinner. I think it's at 6:30 or 6. So there should be time afterwards too for Christmas markets.
Are things open late then, Kelly?
They are actually. Yeah, Christmas
Okay.
markets are usually open till around 10 or so.
Okay.
And then the next day we will have breakfast. We will transfer to the train station. That will probably just be some taxis that I'll arrange because it's not that far. And then we'll all get onto the train together that takes us nonstop to Strasbourg. So one thing to mention is that there's no limit for luggage on this trip per se. But you do have to be able to manage getting it off and on a train yourself. Again, the one thing a little different about this trip is the fact that it is a little shopping oriented. So when it comes to luggage, I love it when people can only take a carry-on, but it's not going to happen, I don't think, for this trip for a couple reasons. One, it's going to be cold. You're going to want your long wool coat. You're going to want gloves, a hat, warm clothes, boots. Boots take up a lot of room. And so just plan you're going to have a full-size suitcase. And if you take the nonstop, all the more reason for that, less chance of lost luggage.
And you hope its wheel doesn't break like mine did.
Yeah, but thank you. But what I suggested would be one of two things. I either bring a duffel that's all flat and folded in my full-size suitcase, and then I have an extra suitcase for getting home, or just bring a carry-on as well, but you do have to be able to manage it. and keep it mostly empty, because a lot of the things you might be buying might be fragile. Christmas ornaments are, a popular thing to buy, and the Christmas mugs. When all of the Christmas markets have some lovely warm beverages, and they come with a really pretty mug, and it's actually optional to keep it. You pay €5 for the mug, and you can return it. I didn't like one last year that I saw, and I did get my €5 back. But if it can become fun to kind of collect them at the different Christmas markets, and so it's not a bad idea to be thrown in some newspaper or tissue paper or something too, just so that you can get things home. I think it's best to have things like that in your carry-on on the way home versus packed. But you do need to be able to manage getting through the train station on the train. Typically for European trains, they have a fairly narrow, almost coat closet like thing that you put your own bag on, and then you take your seat, and then you take them off yourself. There's no checked bags, there's no undercarriage, so you just have to be able to manage that yourself.
Kelly, how long is the train ride to Vienna?
And let's see, I think I have it here, and it's to Strasbourg.
So
You would be lonely if you went to Vienna for the rest of the trip.
keep an eye on me, Kelly. Keep an eye on me.
We get in around noon, so it's about 3 hours. Yeah. I've been wanting to go to Strasbourg for a long time, so I'm actually pretty excited about that. So we get to Strasbourg, we'll transfer to the ship. I will take care of how we do that. Then they do help you with your luggage. We check in, and actually we have the afternoon free. The very nice thing, if you haven't been on a river cruise before, is that you are in the town and you're on the dock and you just walk off. And so you don't per se have to arrange. It's not like there's tenders arranged, or depending on the town, and most of the ones we're going to are not that big. You typically can get where you need to go walking, or there will be cabs if it's a bigger port. But you can be very independent on this kind of thing. The other funny thing, if you haven't seen it before, is that river cruises park next to each other. And so if you're the third one out, you actually get out, and they make a little gangplank to the next river cruise, and then another gangplank to land. So you're literally walking across the other boats, but they're narrow. The river cruise has about 80 cabins on it, so we'll be, like a quarter of them. And
What line is it, Kelly?
It's Amadeus, and I was on them last year. They're really nice. They're European line, so the staff is all European. They are, I want to say they're either Dutch or Austrian. Actually, I think they might be Austrian. And yeah, river cruise lines are small. There's one dining room. There's one lounge. There is sort of like a little bit of a coffee shop, snacky place in the back. But there's typically one entertainer, like it was a piano player and a singer for the week. There's not a lot of options. There's a small gym. Hi, Laura. Laura made it. And on the other hand, I like the intimacy of it. There's a cruise director. Typically, the flow of the day is the night before, or like this first night, you gather in the lounge. The first night, there is a cocktail reception. Most, even though beer and wine are included with meals, the cocktails aren't. And often there's a flow of the day of like, there's a time that we meet before dinner in the lounge. They let us know about what to expect the next day, what time, what the weather's going to be. Everyone has a drink, and then you kind of move into dinner. The dinners are always seated with a menu that changes each night. It's usually 3 options and a vegetarian option. Again, it's not a huge, there are not dining choices, but it does change every night. And what I mean by dining choices is other venues, but the menu changes every night. And again, I like it. You get to know the staff, you get to know your wait staff. We'll have our own tables. And so even though this trip has a little more independency where we're not on a bus all day together every day, we'll be eating together. And for the tours, because of the size of these, that's usually 2 buses that leave full of the people going on the tour. So we'll be together in one, but it won't be only us on it. But like I said, we're going to be represent about a quarter of the ship. So, and for any solos that join us, we've always been very inclusive of that. You'll be at the dinner table with us, you'll be on the tours with us. So it's easy to kind of join on your own if you're not joining with somebody else. So yeah, the first night, that afternoon, we can go into Strasbourg and look around on our own and go to the Christmas market. There'll be a time that we'll know what time dinner is and the welcome meeting is. Eat dinner on the ship. Theoretically, you could get off after dinner if you want. Oh, I'll show you. I put a link on here.
Ellie, when I did the Uniworld tour, they had a limit as to what time you could leave the ship. Like there was an hour that you couldn't leave after a certain hour.
They'll tell us all that, and I don't know
Okay.
them offhand,
Okay.
but I just mean like in this case, I mean, they may have something like that, but actually we're docked for the night,
Oh,
so
okay.
there's
So you're
not like
not traveling through the night.
no, not the first night. We actually spend 2 days in Strasbourg. Our arrival day, we spend the night in Strasbourg, and we have the next day. So
Okay.
you do have a fair amount of
Time. Yeah.
yeah, what you want to do. So this is just to let you know, see, that's like what the lobby looks like. This is the lounge. It's very panoramic. It's so relaxing when you do have downtime and you just want to go into this is the panoramic lounge. Actually, I don't think this is the one where oh, no, is that the bar? This is, I think, where we typically have meetings and stuff. And then I'm trying to get back to where the other places are. This is that's the top. We're not going to see a lot of that because it will be cold. We might even have snow some of the places. I've done one Christmas markets cruise before. It was on the Danube, but it was that kind of weather where it was 30s but not snowing. It was very cold. I almost would have preferred the snow because it would have added. If you're going to be that cold, I would like to see the snow. But yeah, you want to dress warm. Bring a long coat. So this is actually the lounge, and you can see how much you can see as you're sailing along, and then I think there's the dining room on here too. The restaurant, same thing. Now dinner, it's actually we've got 10 minutes. It's fairly dark. If we're actually moving during that time, then you'll see some lights and stuff. But as you can imagine, all of that is not necessarily lit. The gym is very small for people that matters to. They do have one, but see, that's actually mirrors. It's just a little room. And then I'll show you a little bit of the cabin. So the cabins, and this is true for all river cruises, and we don't have suites on this, are small. This is the one with the panoramic window, so you do have a really nice view if you have that, but look how close together the beds are. Just want to put that out there. They're made separately, but there's not a lot of room to pull them apart, as you can see. So, but I find so under the bed, there's a fair amount of room. You unpack, you stick your suitcase under the bed, and as I buy things, those go under the bed. So that the space works, but they're not terribly spacious. This is the closet, but they're nice. As I said, I traveled them before. Let me get us back into the itinerary. Are you all back into the itinerary?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So we have Strasbourg the next day. Each day I have set up a included cruise that's prepaid part of the itinerary. So on this day we will have a tour in the morning. Well, actually, the morning tour to Alsace, that's one of the optional tours. So you can sign up for that, that's a bus tour, and it takes you out of Strasbourg and into the Alsace and Obernai area. Or you can stay and just do Strasbourg if you want. But then that afternoon, we do have an included tour, which will be Strasbourg and tour around the city of Strasbourg. And as I mentioned, anytime in there, you can do the Christmas markets cruise. We don't depart till 10. So, I mean, the Christmas market visit. So that day, theoretically, you could have two tours or just one if you don't do the optional. We leave at night. The next day, we get into Spire. I have included the the excursion to Heidelberg Castle, and there is a Christmas market there. So that one we would be visiting in the daytime. Typically, I like Christmas markets at night. I think they're kind of magical, but sometimes, like this one, we go somewhere else in the afternoon. So we would be in that one in the daytime.
And
Um,
Spire's the next stop after Strasbourg, right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we would be there. Well, basically, would wake up there in the morning. And so we're there in the morning. Actually, that's the only place we are, but we leave that night. And then the next morning, we'll arrive in Rudesheim. We have an included excursion there, which is to the Music Cabinet Museum. Again, these are always optional if you didn't want to do them, but I've tried to include one thing each day. And we actually have two this day, yeah, as I recall, because the morning we're in Rudesheim, and then we move on around lunchtime. So we'll be eating lunch as we're sailing. And then that evening, we're in Koblenz and we have a walking tour included there. Um, and then I feel like I missed something in there because there was one other option. Oh, it was Spire actually. So Spire, so what's included is the morning we go out to the Heidelberg Castle, and then the afternoon we're in Spire. You can do this optional walking trip for $34. One of the reasons I didn't include it is because we already had one that morning, and because we only have the afternoon in Spire, and so you might just want to go to the Christmas market, not necessarily do the walking tour. So that one is optional how you want to do it. And we leave Spire that afternoon, and then we're in Rudesheim the next day. We have the Music Cabinet Museum, and then this is the one where we're in two places again, sailing at lunch, and we get to Koblenz. We do have a walking tour there. And then you can go to the Christmas market, and we have a captain's dinner that night. Depart at 10, sail to Cologne. So Cologne, we will disembark the ship at that point, and we have a hotel set up for the night. So this particular one will probably just get some taxis on our own. Theoretically, I want to say it's something like a 12-minute walk to the hotel. So you could do that, but I figure we're all going to have bags and such. It'll probably be easier if we all just get our own taxis to the hotel. Yeah, it's a 14-minute walk, so it's up to you, or a 3-minute cab, but I'm not pre-arranging a transfer for that. We'll check into the hotel, and then it's a 20-minute walk to the Cologne Cathedral, and there is a Christmas market there. We have the afternoon and evening free to do what you want. There are something like a dozen Christmas markets in Cologne. And so for those who want a guided tour, I did find one that they will take us to 5 of them, and they will drive us in between. It's set up for 7 people. Again, if I have enough interest, I'll try to do 2 back to back. So if that's something you want to do, I would sign up or let me know. But so I've been asked if it gets a little monotonous to, go to so many Christmas markets. While there's a general similar feel to them, they kind of always have some snacks and some warm drinks and sell somewhat similar things. There is always going to be Christmas decor, but they also have, because they're in 2 different countries that we're going to, and they're all different locations. That part is cool to see the differences. They do tend to get a little more regional with the food and the drinks, or just try to be a little original. Sometimes, like, the mugs are all different that you can get. And then in a city like Cologne, where they have so many, like I did that in Munich, and they specialize in different things. Like the Cologne one had like a Christmas market that was just for creches and nativity scenes, and then another one that had more household kinds of things. So they do specialize a little when there's multiple of them in one town. So
Kelly, you might have said it, but what's the cost for the tour that goes to, you said 3 of them?
well, they're all on here. Like, if you see here, it says optional tour $75. So they're
Uh-huh.
on the itinerary. The one
Okay.
I just referred to is $75.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And so go through this quickly because we're almost out of time. This will be another train ride to get to Frankfurt. It's less than an hour to get from the Frankfurt train station, which is quite close to our hotel. I'm sorry, the Cologne train station, direct to the Frankfurt airport. So that there were two options if you are doing the nonstop on United. I think a 1 and a 4. I would go for the 4 o'clock, but definitely after 12. I would say. And if somebody is using miles or points or has other plans or whatever and isn't going to be on that, then it would be at your own cost, but I can help get you to Cologne or Frankfurt for different times. I'm planning, let's put it this way, I'm planning on most people being on a late afternoon flight. So the train we're all taking together is going to be for that. And if you need an outlier transfer, we can figure that out. So I know that was rather quick going through. We just have a minute or two if anybody has any questions.
Nope.
Nope. Great. If you know anybody that was thinking of joining, tell them to sign up soon, because I looked to see if I could get more cabins and they're sold out. So that will be it. People might have a change of plans between now and the time that the final payments due. But yeah, I think it's going to be really fun. And I have done the Christmas markets before. I loved it. That's why I wanted to do it again, just on a different river. For parts we're seeing in the daytime, the Rhine, and Elaine might have done the Rhine before, but it's very, very scenic.
It's very storybook.
Yeah, it really does have,
It's got the castles and
yeah, yeah. And these villages are very charming. And like I said, we'll go over more logistical stuff at the meeting closer to the trip, but you will want to be warm and be thinking about that and bringing a long wool coat and all of that. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Thanks, Kelly.
Okay,
Thank you,
thanks.
Kelly.
Thanks everybody for joining. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
See you later.